Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a new video. It's me, Stateside here. We're going to be taking a look at our favorite Premier League predictions. Of course, biggest time of the year for predictions. It means everything, obviously. All credibility. No, I'm kidding. But, I think that I've kept up with the transfer window pretty well, and I'm really excited about this season. I really think there's a lot of quality teams in the league this season that made that mid-table section very difficult as well as some of the European battles as well became very difficult decisions that had to be made. Uh, but without further ado, let's go ahead and let's start off. Bottom three. Somebody's got to get relegated. There's got to be three of them. So let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. But if you do enjoy this video, leave a like, hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video, and comment down below videos you'd like to see in the future. Let's get right into it. Starting off, we got to go dead bottom of the league, and it has to be somebody. And this year it's going to be Ipswich. Ipswich Town finished second in the championship last season. Very solid season. They managed to keep a few players such as Amari Hutchinson, who they had loaned in, and now they've signed him on a permanent from Chelsea. They also signed Liam Delap on a permanent. Muric of Burnley, and then Jacob Greaves of Hull City. They've also managed to bring in as well. A few departures as well from Ipswich, but nobody they're going to be missing entirely this season. They also managed to bring in Ben Johnson, a longtime player for West Ham on a free transfer, so could see a good position there at the right back position as well. But let's go ahead, let's move on to 19th position. In 19th, we have last year's championship playoff winner, Southampton. They finished fourth in the league and won in the playoff competition to secure promotion to the Premier League. I've got them finishing in 19th here. There they are. Couldn't find them on my list. 19th. Taylor Harwood-Bellis, as well as Flynn Downs, and a few other players coming in, and Ben Brereton Diaz being another one. They let Shea Adams go on a free transfer to Torino. First of all, very weird transfer. Let's get that out of the way. But few solid pickups there. They've been building a very young team. Again, getting experience in the championship. I thought that was going to be good for them when they went down last year. I thought they would be coming right back up. I'm glad they are. I think that this team, very young team that they're able to keep together, is very, very important for them going forward. Up next, we've got Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest just barely scraped by last season. I don't see it happening again, which I hate to do because being American, I want to see Matt Turner get more opportunities in the Premier League. He's already kind of losing his opportunities. I think he's probably going to be out the door here pretty soon from Nottingham Forest, but a little bit of business done by Nottingham Forest doesn't look great. They've also got Nuno Espirito Santo as their manager. Just don't see them surviving. Elliot Anderson's not a great signing. Nikola Mikulinkovic is a good signing, I think. A few other small signings here and there that they've made, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them to survive this season. Now in 17th, a team that finished one place higher once again last year is Brentford. And despite Ivan Toney's return, I just don't see a world where they survive. Igor Thiago's been brought in on a $33 million fee or euro fee, and I don't see a world where they really do much else this season. Ivan Toney's not really focused. Thomas Frank, I just think he's struggling. I don't think he's really getting what he wants this season. David Raya's gone. They also lost Thomas Strakosha on a free transfer, so they're really weak at the goalkeeper position here during backups and things like that. I think they're all right at the starting goalkeeper position with Mark Flecken in goal. He does a job, but is it going to be enough if something were to happen to him, or if he doesn't get onto a start that you want him to have this season? Now, a team that finished 14th last season, Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wolves, I've just got them just barely above in 16th position. I think that, Jorgen Strand Larsson's a decent signing. They've obviously lost a great center back in Max Kilman. Haven't really replaced him. You got Rodrigo Gomez from Braga, Tommy Doyle from City, Pedro Lima. But obviously, you got the return of Hwang Hee-chan, Matheus Cunha, Paulo Sarabia, Pedro Neto, Gonzalo Guedes. Hey everybody, Editing Noah here. Just a quick update. Yes, I know Pedro Neto moved on. He's signed with Chelsea. This was recorded beforehand, so it doesn't really affect where I have Wolves getting placed. I still think they'll finish about 16th position, but just wanted to include that in this video. and quite a few other players remain a part of Wolves' squad. So I think that they'll be just enough to survive. In 15th place, following a very good season, I've got Fulham. I just don't think they're going to replace João Palhinha in this transfer window. I think Emil Smith Rowe is a fantastic pickup. I think Ryan Sessegnon on a free is great. I just don't see them getting João Palhinha replaced. 51 million euros. You would hope they go and spend that money and sign a good defensive midfielder. It's just a very difficult position to sign quality players at, and they had one, and I just think they've lost him. I just don't think they're going to be able to find somebody with the quality to replace him. Is Harrison Reed going to be expected to cover that position? Are we going to expect some more from? I don't even know who else really on that roster could play in that central position. They've also lost Tim Ream, who's just announced as a Charlotte FC player, moving to the MLS. I think they're losing kind of that spine of their team. Obviously, is Rodrigo Muniz, the other Brazilian striker, going to be able to continue his form going into this season? Are we going to see Alex Iwobi fall off? Is Emil Smith Rowe going to click going into the season? It'll be very, very interesting to see. But that's just a lot of uncertainty is why I have Fulham just in that battle for relegation. Now we have the final promoted team this season in 14th position. I've got Leicester City. Leicester signing a few quality players, younger guys, kind of moving to a younger mold, keeping Jamie Vardy on their books, Wilfred Ndidi on their books is good. Steve Cooper managing them, I think he'll do well. I think he'll get them into 14th, a comfortable finish to this season. Again, players out though. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall is obviously leaving, going to Chelsea at 35.4 million euros, but I think they'll be all right without him. Now in 13th position, we've got Brighton, a club that's just kind of been, and the youngest manager in the league, Fabian Hürzeler. I don't even know, can't even remember what club exactly he's from. I want to say it was in the second Bundesliga he was managing in, maybe like St. Pauli or something like that. Lost Pascal Gross, signed quite a few young, talented players, including Mario Cozier-Dewberry, Yankuba Minte for 35 million euros. I don't know how that's going to turn out. Mats Pfeiffer, defensive midfielder, 30 million. I think that is going to be a good signing because they have been needing the Caicedo replacement. They haven't fully replaced him as of yet. So it'll be interesting to see if he does much there. But managed to hold on to Matoma. Another one, Simon Adingra, they managed to hold on to. Evan Ferguson, not losing many of their talented players this summer window, but it'll be interesting to see what happens here as we move towards the later stages of this transfer window. No big links either, which is very interesting. I think there may be one or two players that aren't really getting much game time. I think they've actually secured the signature of Diego Gomez as well from Inter Miami, so that'll be another interesting one to watch this season. The team I've got in 12th position is Everton. I think that this could be a surprise to many people, but I think that Everton have done a pretty decent job this summer. Sold off Ben Godfrey, sold off Lewis Dobin, obviously lost Amadou Onana, very difficult player to replace, but they're building their money up. They're kind of a team that's been struggling financially, so ending a summer window in the positive is probably a blessing for Everton, especially if they can go and perform kind of like they did last year, because without the point deduction, they were a pretty solid squad. They would have been, I think, a comfortable mid-table finish had it not been for the point deduction. So hopefully summer like this one will help them get out of those point deduction territory. Now in 11th place, we've got Crystal Palace, a team that, again, has done very well to hold on to some players, but there's a few that they just couldn't hold on to. Michael Elise being the biggest one, 53 million. Obviously, Eze's still there for now. They brought in Daichi Kamada, who I assume is going to be eventually the replacement for Eze. If he moves on, Ismail Sarr being the Elise replacement. They're just kind of going like for like replacements this summer. I hope it works out for their sake. Mark Yehi, obviously another player being linked heavily to Newcastle. Now, I feel bad for Oliver Glasner because he did such an excellent job during the spring, these last few months of the season, getting them up into a 10th place finish, and then they're just going to all leave. So Crystal Palace, again, 11th place for me. I think it's still a solid season if you're a Crystal Palace fan, but it's very disappointing, all things considered. Hey everybody, Editing Noah here. Just a quick update. Yes, I know Pedro Neto moved on. He's signed with Chelsea. This was recorded beforehand, so it doesn't really affect where I have Wolves getting placed. I still think they'll finish about 16th position, but just wanted to include that in this video. a team that's held on to a lot of key pieces this summer. Bournemouth, it looked like they were going to lose a few players, but they have not. Lloyd Kelly leaving on a free, Joe Rothwell leaving on a loan, Kiefer Moore being sold to Sheffield United. None of those are going to be breaking the team. However, they brought in a few upgrades. Luis Sinistero on the left wing, Ines Unal, obviously not going to be a replacement for Dominic Solanke, but he will be a good backup, I think. 16.5 million euros, not a bad pickup whatsoever. He obviously didn't play many minutes last season while on loan, but it doesn't hurt, in my opinion, to have him there. I think he'll be a solid enough player in the Premier League as a backup striker. And then, of course, Dean Huijsen, I believe is how you say his name. I'm not entirely sure. Juventus center back, Dean first name. There, we'll go with that. But that's why I have got Bournemouth at 10th place, is mostly because they've trusted the manager. I think they're going to be rewarded for that. But I also think they've held on to a lot of key players, hanging on to Dominic Solanke, hanging on to players like Marcus Tavernier, holding on to players like Philip Billing, Alex Scott, Max Aarons, Marco Senesi, Ilya Zabonyi, Neto in goal as well is solid enough, captain of the club as well. So I think that they'll be fine. I think they'll finish a respectable 10th place fighting for European football. Finishing in 9th place, we've got West Ham United, a club that's managed to hold on to quite a few of their talented players. Held on to Jared Bowen, have held on to Paqueta. I think Cornet's heading out the door. I think they've gotten great pickups in Somerville, Fulkrug, Danny Ings, another one heading out the door. Kurt Zouma, if I didn't already mention him, heading out the door. They brought in quite a bit of quality. Luis Guilherme, another one that's very good that I think will play an impact, maybe not this season, but in future seasons or even off the bench or in cup competitions for West Ham as they look to compete on maybe multiple fronts as in cup competitions. They've also got players in such as Max Kilman, Rodriguez from Betis on a free transfer as well. Haven't lost much. Flynn Downs, Benrahma, Ben Johnson, just a few players that have been there for a while, kind of that deadwood players that they needed to get rid of that maybe help teams in other leagues or help, Premier League new boys like Ipswich. In 8th place, the team missing out on European football is going to be Chelsea. I just don't see Chelsea surviving this season, doing very well. Enzo Maresca being manager end of the season, I'll also be very surprised by. I think Pochettino should have kept the job personally. But Kieran Dewsbury-Hall was a good pickup. Losing Ian Maatsen isn't great. Losing Lewis Hall isn't great. Mari Hutchinson, they'll be all right. Malang Sarr, Hakim Ziyech, both leaving on frees, not a big deal at all. But quite a few arrivals for them. Omari Kellyman, Philip Jorgensen, Renato Vega, Caleb Wiley at left back. Another one from Atlanta, actually, whose jersey I'm wearing, their 404 kit. So that's kind of coincidence. Not really. Obviously, he's a player that come to my mind there. But let's start looking at the interesting thing, the European competition. In 7th, Europa Conference League spot, I've got Newcastle. 7th position, I think, is a decent spot for them. They finished in 7th last year, I believe, as well. Held on to Nick Pope. Sandro Tonali should be joining back this season. Lewis Hall's now on a permanent. Kieran Trippier hopefully has a better season. Hopefully they don't have as many injuries as last year. Still think it's going to be the same position regardless, but I do think avoiding injuries will be big. Anthony Gordon could still be out the door. Harvey Barnes is still a solid player for them. Almiron might be out the door soon with links to Saudi these last few seasons. Alexander Isak and Jacob Murphy, both very solid as well. Sold Elliot Anderson for very good money. Yankuba Minte as well for very good money. Matt Ritchie leaves on a free to Portsmouth this summer. A few other players, Lloyd Kelly on a free. I don't think the Vlachodimos signing is going to be fantastic. Lewis Hall, also from Chelsea, of course, is a rival we already mentioned, but I've got Newcastle finishing in a comfortable 7th spot above Chelsea. In 6th and playing European football in the Europa League next season is Manchester United. I think injury woes with their new signings isn't a great start for them. They have managed to bring in Lenny Euro and Joshua Zirkzee so far. They gotten rid of Greenwood, Van de Beek, Varane, and some academy players. Amrabat loan ending is as well. Good for them as well. Manchester United, again, I think 6th place is respectable considering they finished in 8th last year. I do think it's going to be an upgrade on the previous season. I don't see them competing for a Champions League spot, though. First team missing out is the same team that missed out this season. Tottenham, I've got in 5th. Europa League for Tottenham once again. Archie Gray, decent signing. Lucas Bergvall, Okay, I guess can't pretend I've heard of him very much. Hoiberg going out on loan, Brian Hill going out on loan, Eric Dyer leaving on a free, Joe Rodon getting 11.8 million for Joe Rodon. Rodon. I'm not quite sure. Excuse my pronunciation once again. Here, solid enough. Ryan Sessegnon leaving for a free. Fine, get him off the books. But Tottenham, 5th place. I think they have a few more signings they have to make before this window closes, though. Now we've got our final four: Villa, Liverpool, City, Arsenal. Who's going to win the league? Who's going to finish in that top four? Well, those 4 teams are going to finish in that top four. I just said so. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about 4th place first. We've got Liverpool. I just don't think there's enough changes to that squad. I think they need to make some upgrades. I think they need to make a few signings to kind of fill some of those players that have left. Joel Matip leaving, Thiago Alcantara going on and retiring. Calvin Ramsey looks to have gone on loan to Wigan, and then Adrian leaving on a free transfer as well. Bobby Clark has been signed into the midfield on a more, senior contract. And then that's kind of what the situation is there at Liverpool. I think they need to make 1 or 2 signings, though. But let's go ahead and let's talk about 3rd place. Now, I went and flipped 3rd and 4th from last season. Obviously, Liverpool finished in 3rd last season. I've got them finishing in 4th this season. And now I've got Aston Villa finishing in 3rd after finishing in 4th the previous year. Again, kept quite a few of their solid players. Did lose Douglas Luiz and Moussa Diaby. But they're okay because they brought in Amadou Onana, Premier League experience. For just $8 million more than they sold Luiz for. And guess what? He's younger. So that's fantastic. Ian Maatsen, $44.5 million at left back. Cameron Archer, $16.65. Jaden Philogene will play on that left wing. And they also signed a Juventus left winger as well. First name Samuel. I'm not even going to try to butcher his last name as well. But again, fantastic players I think that they've signed. I think Unai Emery is going to continue to improve this squad as he has done time and time again. Now, the fun part, final 2 teams. And well, you know what one of them are. Am I going to show my bias? Is it going to be City again? No. I'm going Arsenal to win the league. I know it might be controversial. I think that the business that Arsenal's linked with, obviously City's bringing in Savio and that's it. They've lost a few academy players. They haven't lost anyone big. There was obviously the links to Ederson, and I may have had City in 3rd if that was the case. If they had lost Ederson, I would have been actually very concerned for the situation at City, not if they lost a player like Ederson. But I do think they're going to finish 2nd this season. I think Arsenal finally get theirs. I hope they do. Ricardo Calafiori signed earlier this window. Mikel Merino looking to come in. David Raya being a permanent signing now. Emil Smith-Rowe for $31.8 million sold. They've loaned out a few other players: Nuno Tavares, Albert Sambi Lokanga, and then of course Cedric Suarez and Mohamed Elneny both leaving on frees as well. Well, I think Cedric Suarez is still a free agent at the moment, but I think Mikel Arteta finally gets over the edge and finally wins a Premier League title. Oh, please, I hope so. But that's my list. Let me know what you guys think. If you agree or disagree, down in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video, and I'll see you in the next one.